always stress the point about my boundaries are important. And I think a lot of people nowadays, I hear different conversations. Everyone's learning how to say no, and that no is okay. When you don't, I don't feel like doing that. It's not good for me. It's not good for my space. Not good for my energy. Why is boundaries so important? Why should people tap into like creating those boundaries?
I'm so happy you asked this question because some of y'all got a hold of these words and are like weaponizing them. Some of y'all boundaries are trash. I'm gonna look right in the camera. Some of y'all ain't got boundaries. You just hurt and want to be in charge all the time. So the first thing is examine why you have that boundary. Do you have that boundary for a healthy and honorable reason, or do you have that boundary because you're scared of engaging and you are creating a space where you're hiding in a box? Some people's boundaries are trash. They always say, trust your gut. Bullshit. Don't trust your gut. Clean out your gut first.
Sometimes it's not always.
Some of y'all guts is trash, right? Clean out your gut first. Have a colonic. Have an emotional colonic. Like, deal with your stuff and say, hey, this boundary is feeding my best self. Once your boundary is feeding your best self, then you can assert your boundaries. Cause I have people like assert some real trash boundaries. Also, too, Aaron had a thing. It was amazing. What the wellness, I think it was.
Yep.
With him and Brian. I was in the room and I was listening and I was so proud of them. But I always got to be the one with the spicy question.
Of course.
I spent the entire time listening to people talk about boundaries. If you don't respect my boundaries, you got to go. Everybody gets real like self-righteous. And I simply raised my hand and said, so guys, we've been talking about giving boundaries. Can we talk about how to receive boundaries? Because a lot of y'all big on telling people what not to do, but can't nobody tell you shit. And it's giving hypocrisy. So can we talk about the humility it takes to also receive boundaries in return and not be a one-sided boundary giver? Do you know to this day, people who were in that room are still stopping me to ask me to like talk to me? I went to the Send Help premiere 3 days ago. Somebody stopped me and said, "You're the girl with the boundaries question." I was like, "Why y'all?"
Not you, not a girl with the boundaries question.
I was like, "That's what I'm known for."
I thought you get a different name every week.
Yeah, I know. You the girl who made Oprah cry. You
right?
Like, yeah,
yeah.
It's always something. But like, no, I was like, that was a month and something. He's like, no, that stuck with me because there's a self-righteous thing that happens in mental health spaces where everybody wants to talk about how they get to be superior. So a lot of people get self-righteous in setting boundaries and saying that anybody who's ever inconvenienced me had me fucked up. Very few of us are equipped to actually receive that in return. And so I'm just going to say it's important to give boundaries, but it's also important to build a bandwidth, a capacity to receive boundaries.
Absolutely.
It can't be one-sided. And that's what really concerns me. As someone who's an OG, I have a young spirit, but my license says otherwise. When I started doing this work, social media didn't even exist.
Yeah.
So I'm an OG. Like, I had to go into the workshops face to face and do all this stuff. I didn't have memes that I could look at to sound pseudo smart. I didn't have an algorithm that was going to help me get folks. I had to be 10 toes down the old school way. And so 19 years into my career, there are people who are learning about boundaries on Monday and creating workshops and being experts on Tuesday.
Shout out to Clubhouse.
You just learned this.
Shout out to Clubhouse.
There's lots of people in their mother's basements in Clubhouse talking about how to be a millionaire.
Right,
You can't make rent,
buy
bruh.
my ebook.
So everything, and you can attest to this, everything that I talk about, I live it. And so I would love everybody to spend less time trying to be superior, less time trying to be a guru. Everybody wants to be a guru. I was doing this work for a decade before I even felt qualified to run my mouth to anybody else. And so I want people to be like, don't worry about looking important. Worry about feeling whole. Because once you feel whole, the need to pontificate and always be right goes away. And there have been so many arguments where I was 100% factually correct. I still compromise because I don't need to be right. I need to connect.
Yeah.
Because being right is filling a void. Connecting means way more to me. Because here's the thing too, right? A lot of you are right and you're sleeping alone with a body pillow.
I need one of those.
I'm just saying, do you want to be right or do you want to be in communion with people? Because I'm at the point now where I'm so consistent. Like Lamar, you've seen me. I'm very consistent.
Yes.
Good day, bad day. It's Gucci all the time. And so, if you don't trust me by now, you don't want to trust me.
Right.
So if you don't trust my heart, we can't be friends. I ended a 25-year friendship because he was still expecting me to tap dance to prove myself. I said, bro, if anybody was going to be judgmental, it would have been me.
Yeah,
you're the messy, inconsistent one. You want me to prove myself?
Nah,
say less. Free yourself.
Go ahead and
okay, Fantasia. I felt it. I felt it coming the minute I said it.
You said it. It was
I am so big on people taking up the space in my life that they're supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't beg.
When did you really really grasp it? I would assume it wasn't always that way. I'm sure you had last year.
Yeah, no, my family was not equipped at all. There's not a single emotionally intelligent person in my family.
And they're all Scorpios.
They're all Scorpios and one Sag, so that's not helping much. I was like, damn, out of the pot into the fire, right? 23. because I got paid to learn about it. Like I didn't choose emotional intelligence.
But it told you.
Yeah, it chose me. I would have never. I would have been a hot ass mess. Everything that you assumed I would have been her. But I got a job working for the Harvard School of Public Health, and they needed a writer to write about emotional intelligence. Wow. So I had to learn on the job.
A lot of research?
Like we were in a think tank.
Oh, you were,
So they literally had me in a think tank for 2 years with all these academics. I'm fresh out of college, come from a messy ass Afro-Latin West Indian family, not a lick of emotional intelligence in sight, and now I'm being paid to teach little kids something that I didn't even fucking learn. I was like, oh, this is awkward. Lucky for me, like you, I was a sponge. And so I was taking notes, and then, I cried a lot after work. I was like, wait a minute, my family's fucked up. Like, there were times I would leave work like, wait, if this is true, then I need to have some phone calls with my family and them. So I quickly realized during that job that emotional intelligence was the missing link. And it changed my life. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, well, if it could change my life, it could change other people's lives. And the first person I started off with was my best friend. I was like, hey, so it's come to my attention that the way that we communicate is like incredibly toxic. He's like, I was like, yeah, and here's the thing. Me being emotionally intelligent means I can't force you to join me, but I'm about to go through this new path of like changing the way that I talk to myself and others. I'm going to give you 24 hours to decide if you want to join me or not. Because no, it wasn't an ultimatum at all. It was like, I'm about to shift. And if you don't want to come with me, I won't be upset. But the way that we talk to each other can never happen again. Wow. That's what he said.
It will happen in 24 hours.
And mind you, this is like a 25-year-old man. He's like, what? He's like, what the fuck?
What did you talk about?
I said, I was like, no, the way that we argue, the way that we talk, the way that we sass each other, it's all toxic. I'm tapping out. And I'm about to change on you. And I don't want you to feel like what's going on. So I'm giving you context and letting you opt in or opt out. He called me an hour later like, I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm in. And he was the first person that I ever learned how to teach it to.
I pride myself on being self-aware. I think that's so important to be able to like, I literally, I'll call my own bullshit before something. I'm like, yeah, I know I was fucking wrong there and that. I did this wrong. Like, that's literally like, oh, I love it. I never was that way. Over the years I've grown and grown and grown, but now like I'd rather call out my own shit before somebody else.
I appreciate that because a lot of people, I know men in their 30s.
They won't. People don't know how to. They won't.
And what's so crazy too? It's like you have to be willing to say, my way is not the only way.
Correct.
And accuracy, like being right, is not enough of a reason to be an asshole.
2 things can be true.
Yeah, 2 things can be true, right? Like the way that you feel is always valid. It's your actions that aren't valid. So if you feel a way, that's valid. But you showing your ass because you felt a way, not so valid. Also, too, it makes you a victim when you don't own your shit. Oh, Jesus, baby. So everybody did something to you. You didn't do nothing. You did nothing wrong. So you're Jesus.
Everybody wants to play
levitate. Let me, since you're Jesus, let me watch you levitate. And so yeah, I've had a couple people that I love deeply that I'm currently mourning because I've never seen them take accountability, which means I'm not safe. Because the minute we have a disagreement, guess what's about to happen? I'm about to be a villain because you're always the victim.
You're the bad guy.